feeling too well this morning. I went to the doctor's. Somebody had been coaxing me into drinking. Walked in the doctor's this morning. There was a nun sitting in the waiting room crying her eyes out. I walked into the doctor and says, Doctor, do you realise there's a nun out there crying her eyes out? The doctor says, yes, as a matter of fact. I've just told her she's pregnant. I said, she's not, is she? He says, no, but it's cured her hiccups. Murphy's brother, he's living in Ballybutton. That's a naval base in Ireland. And him and Dooley are standing at the corner of the street one day and they haven't got a penny between them. They're skint. And they're dying for a drink. Murphy says, what are we going to do to get ourselves a drink? Dooley says, I'll tell you what, says he. Paddy Malone died last night, says he. We'll go up to the house, we'll pass our condolences to the widow. She'll probably ask us to stay for a drink. There's a wake on. Well, they walk in, see the widow Malone, say, I'm very sorry to hear about poor Paddy. Oh, she says, come in, lads. The drink's over in the corner. Well, they're drinking for 3 days and 3 nights at this wake. And on the 33rd night, the night before the burial, the widow Malone comes over. She says, I have a problem, lads, and you may be able to help me. I don't know whether I should have poor Pat buried or whether I should have him cremated. And Murphy says, why don't you have him stuffed and keep the party going?
Come here, I'll tell you all. 3 pigs walked to the bar, you see. One says, a port lemon, please. The other said, a port lemon, please. And the third one said, 14 pints of bitter. Thank you very much. He said, you can't drink 14 pints of bitter. He said, I'm the little pig in the bed. Wee, 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 all the way. The new policeman on duty, he had the awful job. His first day he'd ever been on the police force. He had to go and tell this woman that her husband had been killed at work. Oh, and he said, how will I do that? The sergeant said, don't worry. He said, your best thing is, when you arrive at the door and the lady comes, he said, what you do is you best cause a surprise, so give her a shock of some other sort, and then while she's thinking about that, you can inform her of her bad news, and it'll be all right, because see, we've all got the job to do. So he walked to their house and went... He knocked on the door. She said, oh, is it? No, she didn't. She didn't do that. I just put that in for a laugh. He knocked on the door, you see, and the woman opened the door and he stood and shouted, boo! Your husband's dead. Little girl says to her, she said, Mum, she said, how long is a tube of toothpaste? She said, what do you want to know that? She said, how long is a tube of toothpaste? She said, it's about that long a family size. She said, oh, no, Mummy. She said, it's gone twice round the wash basin, up the side of the back.
I must tell you about my mate Tommy. He's been married 22 years. He's got 22 kids. His wife's never heard of Horlicks. Right, 22 of them. They don't have a babysitter, they have a shepherd. So many nappies hanging up to dry in the kitchen, it causes a rainbow. He takes them all to the park on Sundays and the ducks feed them. Sling little worms up. He's got one little girl, Debbie she's called, and she's 4, and she thinks the world of her dad. Because kids do when they're 4, don't they? They don't know them. He bought her a little puppy dog for a birthday present and he house-trained it himself. Every day for about 3 months he was at it. On the paper! On the paper! Eventually he trained it and he had to start all over again. Not while I'm reading it! She's lovely, is Debbie. She goes to Sunday school and the teacher said to the class, can any little boy or girl tell me where Jesus lives? Little Debbie, 4. She says, please, teacher, Jesus lives in our bathroom. Teacher said, how do you make that out? She said, well, every morning my dad hammers on the door and says, Jesus, are you still in there?
Little lad ran home. He said, Ma'am, I found a 50p piece. He said, look at that, look at that. She said, are you sure it was lost? He said, yeah. Seen the fella looking for it. School teacher at the top of the class, little lad put his hand up at the back. And she said, go on, Charlie, you know what it is, don't you? He said, yeah. And 10 minutes later, he came back, crying his eyes out. She said, what are you crying for? He said, I couldn't find it. Couldn't find it. She said, George, take him down. He said, OK. 5 minutes later, he came back. Said, you find it, George? He said, yeah. He had his underpants on back to front. I know a fella. This is true. This is true. I know a fella who's got a great big house. He's got this enormous house with hundreds of rooms in it, you see. And the smallest room he's got is down the bottom of the garden. Little hut. In the back of the hut, there's a 400-foot drop. And one day, he found that little hut right at the bottom. It's the toilet. And he called his little lad. He said, who shoved the toilet off the cliff? He said, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. He said, I'll tell you a fairy story. He said, years and years ago, he said, there was a little boy called George Washington. And he chopped down the cherry tree. And his dad said, George, who chopped down the cherry tree? He said, Father, I cannot tell a lie. It was I. Who chopped down the cherry tree? And his dad gave him 10 new pence. Now, who shoved the toilet off the edge of the cliff? He said, I cannot tell a lie. It was I who shoved the lavvy down the cliff. And his dad battered hell out. He said, George Washington got 10 UP. He said, his dad wasn't up the cherry tree.
Old boy 95 walked into a boozer. He went up to the fella behind the bar and he went, he said, give us a pint of 1934 bitter, will you, mate? Bar went, hold on a minute, pal. He went outside, he see the governor. He said, Governor, got an old man out the front here, wants a pint of 1934 bitter. He said, son, humour him. Pull him out a pint of the best bitter, he won't know the difference. The barman went out, pulled out a pint of the best bitter. He said, here, old man, here's your 1934 bitter. Oh, he said, he said, you're French, mate. There's your fourpence. Way now, we're going back now to the days of the Wild West, to the days of the Pony Express rider. And there was Pony Express rider riding across the desert on his horse, like a lunatic. Whee! All of a sudden, from nowhere, an Indian appeared and threw one of them war lance things at him. Have some of that. Where's the ink crunch? But did he worry? No. He kept riding like a maniac. Whee! From behind a cactus, 300 Indians appeared. Big cactus. And let him have it with the bows and arrows. Whee! 98 arrows in his chest. 14 in his Harris. 19 through his nose, because he has some trunk, this Pony Express rider. But did he worry? He kept riding like a maniac. As he's going under a rock, an Indian leapt off the rock and hit him on the head with a tomahawk. Have some of that. Crunch. Ding. But did he worry? He kept riding like a maniac. He made the fall. Fell off his horse, crawled up to the captain's door, kicked it open, well hurt, and he said, no letters today, sir. Bloody hell!